I've just come upon a nice part of the Green River here. I'm getting ready to walk upstream and fish it. The best part's probably right by those rocks. But I do not know what's laying right in here. In fact, a lot of the big fish will move around, especially in the afternoon, and feed at the tails of these pools. So you must have a game plan before you start off fishing. You don't run right up there and start fishing the best part. So what we're going to do is work our way up. What we do is fish the water closest to us first, right along the rocks. This shallow part where there may not be a fish, but you never know. That may be where Gold Grandpa's laying. I'll move a little farther up and just work my way methodically up the stream, fishing inside first and gradually out. But most important, I'm looking for the sign of the trout. That rise, the swirl, a tail, a flash, anything that might indicate that there's a trout there. Remember, have a game plan. Many times when you're streamer or nymph fishing, when you're going down deep, you're going to hook a log or a rock or a clump of weeds. And you may not want to wade out there. In fact, you may not want to go swimming after it. So let me just show you a little trick that'll work some of the time, maybe not all of the time. Take your rod, make a little roll cast, and flip up like that. And that'll save you a deep wade and a pair of very wet waders. Fishing into the wind, if you make a normal cast, this is what's going to happen. Oh, boy. You don't want that to happen. What you want to do is to drive that line into the wind. And the way we accomplish it is lower our power stroke. In other words, instead of applying our power right here, we apply the power straight in with driving that tip into the wind, like this. Sure, as we said before, the line's going to hit hard, but you're going to get a cast out. And if you don't get your cast out, you're not going to catch any fish anyway. It works well with streamers and nymphs especially. Again, fire that tip into the air. If you apply it up here and fire it, it's still not going to make any difference. It's still going to come back at you. What you've got to do is lower your power stroke, tightening your loop. Watch the loop. Loop is tighter. Less wind resistance, tighter, and into the wind. This will make your fishing much more successful, and you won't have to pack your rod up and head back in on a windy day. You can use the wind to your advantage by having it behind you, especially in places like lakes and big rivers, where you have hoppers and terrestrials and other things that fall into the water. Also big caddis. You can hold your rod high in the air and let the wind move your fly across the water, skipping it and jumping it. Just use your rod tip to move the fly around. And boy, I'll tell you, a crash from a big brown will really make it exciting. Use the wind to your advantage, and you'll improve your fly fishing.
When you have structure behind you, you must learn how to roll cast. Bring the line up till it comes right by your shoulder, a quick flip of the wrist. A steeple cast can also work. Again, flip the line straight up in the air and then force it into the water.
When you first come to a stream, you gotta have a plan, a battle plan, how to approach it. We're here on a beautiful western spring creek. I've just arrived. There's a lot of things to take into consideration. Time of the day, time of the year, water conditions, temperature, what might be hatching. Once you've analyzed all of that, you've got to approach the stream. First of all, consider the lay of the land. Here at this spring creek, we have several branches. So we make a plan in our mind. Let's wade downstream and approach from the far side, hitting this part of the pool, hitting underneath this particular weed bank. Look at the structure, and then decide maybe we ought to fish up that stream and come back around and then fish downstream. But most important is get a plan of attack. always be observant. Be watching for signs that will help you complete your task. Look for fish rising. Use your sunglasses and your keen eye to spot fish moving in the water. Look for hatches, look for rises. Fly fishing is detective work. The better the detective, the better the fly fisherman you're going to be. Hey, when you spot the fish, then it's to the fly vest and picking out the fly. But you better have approached the fish the right way. Come up from downstream. That means having a battle plan. Okay, I've been observing. On this side, there's a couple fish rising next to this bank. Over there's another fish. And as we look upstream, we spot other fish working. In my mind, I'm making a plan. I'm going to cast a couple times behind this stump for this fish. No luck. Then I'll move out and work to the other fish. I have a way of approaching each one of those fish before I start. Many times when you look at a stream, there are many different hidden currents. At this place we're looking at right now, there's a current on the left where I just made that cast. See the fly come back towards us, just dragging a little bit. And then on the right-hand side, there's another current right over there. See how the fly's floating naturally? But in between is that little bit of calm area between the currents, and it's right there. See how the fly's pulling right through, just dragging right through the middle of that current. You'll find recognizing these currents and watching where your fly line lands. If it lands across in that particular area where it's dead, it's going to drag the fly through. So say we want to fish the left-hand current, let's toss it over, do a reach min, and it drifts down that current. Do it again. Try one more time. We want the fly to go down the left-hand current. We want the line to go more to the left. Hey, looks like we connected. Nice little fish. Streamer fishing can be very effective for big trout. And the most important thing to remember when streamer fishing is to make the fly act like a minnow. It must swim. It must move. A streamer that just lays, dead drifts in the water like that is not effective. You have to provide the movement. Now we're standing in the middle of the stream and we're looking for structure. Rocks, like a rock over there, deep troughs. And we divide our stream into quadrants. We've got a lower quadrant, a medium quadrant, an upper quadrant, and an upper quadrant, straight upstream. So let's take a look how we fish each one of these quadrants. Now directly downstream from you, you're waiting. You may want to throw a loop line out in the current and have the fly swim upstream. And it's not going to swim upstream